All right, hopefully I'm all good. Welcome back again to Media's live show. This is episode 17. Summer 2025 is effectively over. We still got a few stragglers, a couple shows that are 13 episodes long that are not quite finished, but all the 12 episode anime of the season are over. And we're actually going to just jump right into that after we talk about some current events. So we're going to jump right into it, but then we don't. Classic media. Gotta make sure people are aware that I'm streaming after all. My nose is all stuffed up. I'm actually not doing so hot right now. Got a nasty spider bite on my wrist that is infected and all swollen up. So that's fun. For the live show. All right, make sure that my stream's going good. Clear my sinuses a bit. I'm all lightheaded now. So, I guess the most pressing like current event thing going on is the whole Jimmy Kimmel situation, which is kind of stupid because Jimmy Kimmel sucks. He's always sucked. He's been a black hole within ABC's budget for the past 15, 20 years. He is only there out of he is only allowed to have his show out of tradition. Because when he first started, 20 something years ago, he was ABC's answer to like David Letterman or Jay Leno, and he was nowhere near as good as either of them. Like so, right out the gate, he was in third place in what was originally like a two-person race. And ABC just never went and got anyone better. Uh, So yeah, he got fired, which is fitting because he celebrated the firing of people like Roseanne Barr and Gina Carano from Disney. Uh, ABC, of course, is owned by Disney, and Disney has a habit of firing people who like the wrong think. They had, Jimmy Kimmel had no issue with Disney firing conservatives for their opinions, but then he cries foul when he just outright lies about what, let's not mince words, a terrorist attack, a political assassination. Jimmy Kimmel lies about that knowingly, and then gets fired, cries foul, and now Disney's in negotiations for giving him a show back, even though like this was a really good excuse to just fire him and cut their losses. Late night talk shows are just a thing of the past. None of them are good anymore. None of them have been good since Craig Ferguson lost his show. Uh, there has not been like a single good episode of Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, or Stephen Colbert in over a decade. Uh, it's just time for those types of shows to just go away forever. Uh, but the fact that these negotiations are even taking place kind of disproves the notion that Trump's FCC had anything to do with it. If the FCC really was really putting pressure on ABC to fire Jimmy Kimmel, then they would not be talking about giving him his show back so soon. It just wouldn't happen. So everyone's lying. Everyone sucks. Let's get on to something that doesn't suck. I chose Dandadan for the thumbnail because this is a way to end the season. Kind of ending it where it began with Momo having a heartgasm as explosions happen behind her. Dandadan season 2 was better than season 1. It was much more consistent, much more like I think narratively consistent, and I think a lot of that has to do with how present Evil Eye was throughout the whole ordeal. Whereas season 1, you can very easily like slice it up into different parts. Like, oh, this is the part with Turbo Granny. This is the part with Ira. This is the part with Gigi. Here it's like, yeah, there's the part with the house. Then there's the part where they try to exorcise Evil Eye. And then there's the part with where they're training, and then there's the part with the kaiju. But it all involves like Evil Eye, and Evil Eye is just the best character in the show, and it's not even close. Like, which is so funny because I think Gigi's the worst character in the show. Like, I don't like I've come around on Gigi. Like, I like him. He's fine, but he's still my least favorite character in the show. He's annoying in a way that uh, actually gets on my nerves, whereas Kinta is annoying in a way that just makes sense. Um, but Evil Eye is just so Hulk coded. He's really Hulk coded. The way he throws temper tantrums and the way he like revels in the thrill of everything and the combat and he's just kind of in awe of the kaiju and of the kaiju fight and is also just like not okay with the fact that he's not able to do what he wants to do, which is murder. Uh, I know this alien girl who is in the kaiju suit. I know she's like a major player later on. Will like just be a standard member of the cast from this point forward. I don't know much about her deal. I know I've seen her in pictures and stuff. Um, I don't like the forced love triangle drama crap. Like that's kind of all that was already kind of getting on my nerves with Ira and Gigi being added into the cast. And I have a third girl who likes Okaroon, and I'm sure you'll have like a second and a third guy that likes Momo, and then for like I hope this doesn't become a trend. I hope this doesn't like enter actual harem plot territories because that would just be annoying. I've said it before that like even though I do like myself the occasional harem rom com, I much prefer it when the focus is on a singular couple or on singular couples. Monogamy wins. Because monogamy will always get you more time to focus, a lot more time to actually like explore the relationship, explore the dynamics, explore what it's like to be in a relationship, explore what it means to start a relationship. Like you can't have that when you're trying to spread all your screen time across 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really like you. Uh, no offense to that show, I have not watched that show. Obviously, I don't have an opinion on it. I actually think it's a bold move to even attempt the 100 girlfriend harem thing. But like, no matter how good that show is, no matter how fun that show is, I will always prefer things like quintessential quintuplets and Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian and Rascal Does Not Dream that focuses on or spends most of its time focusing on a single relationship. Where like yeah, there might be some potential love interests outside of that, outside of the main couple, but at the end of the day, a choice has to be made. There can only really be one true winner. Uh, Otherwise, you're just getting half the effort you deserve. Uh, but as for the episode itself, it kind of ruled. I liked the fight between the giant kaiju and the giant mech. I think it's fun. I think Kenta is a good addition to the cast for these types of fights. I don't think he's going to have as I can't see him being as useful as Ira or Evil Eye in later encounters. Is what I'm trying to say. Especially now that this girl is joining the alien girl is joining them. It's a whole thing. Um, yeah, I give Dandadan season two a 9 out of 10. I enjoyed it much more than season one. Like there wasn't any episodes that like outright annoyed me. In fact, I've been more impressed with season two than I was with season one. And I went into season one knowing next to nothing, whereas I went into season two knowing season one and having that kind of like preconceived notion like what Dandadan is, and it still managed to surpass my expectations. Robert, one of my on again, off again co-hosts said, I think where Dandadan's love triangles work is that none of the other characters have a shot. They're used to push Momo and Okuru's relationship forward. Yeah, I mean that is the ideal. That's what I'm hoping for. Uh, Robert, I know you've read the manga. I have not, so I'm going to just leave it at that. That hopefully I am right and that that wasn't a spoiler, but that is still ends up being true. I am interested in seeing where the story goes from here, but not interested enough to read the manga. As I said a few weeks ago, like I just can't imagine reading Don to Don. So much of what I ended up loving about this show comes from the voice actors. I watched the dub blow me, uh, but it comes from the voice actors. It comes from the music. It comes from the animation. Like the story is fine. It's good. It's got some good writing, but like the atmosphere and kind of the build up, the pacing. Like I just really like this adaptation a lot. To the point where like I don't want to watch another version of Don to Don. Like I don't want to see a trimmed down movie version of it. I don't want to see a live action version of it. I don't want to see a reboot. I don't want to read the manga. I don't want to play any of the games if it ever gets games, unless they look baller because game can engage on levels that other mediums can't. But like this is just it's perfect the way it is. It's perfect the way it is. Like just I don't need it to be different than what it already is. Uh but that's kind of all I have to say about Dandadan. Like I said, I give it a 9 out of 10. It's one of the best shows in recent memory. Um Not one of the best shows in recent memory, but one I had a lot of fun with. There's no way I'll be your lover unless the season finale, and apparently it's getting a movie because we certainly do live in a timeline. I did not see this conclusion coming. It really took me off guard. I kind of actually felt bad for Mai because she's so confident. She's like, you should just confess. Yeah, she'll say no, but you'll get it off your chest. You'll feel better. It'll help build all of our relationships as friends and everything. It's just good for everyone. It's good for Renako to hear this. It's good for you to get it off your chest. It's good for me to like know that we're on the same level. And then Renako fucking says yes because Renako likes Ajisai a lot more than she likes any of the other girls. And I don't have any clue where this is gonna go. I actually kind of just wanted to end there. Like, yep, Renako and Ajisai live happily ever after. Screw y'all. I know there's more to it because like there's the girl in their group, the short one, who is actually kind of annoying. She hasn't gotten an arc at all. So I know that they're gonna do something with her at some point. Then obviously, like, there's the whole bet with Renako and Mai and figuring out like where to draw the line between friends and lovers. Uh, but this is just a peak development. Just the best way to end a season of a show like this is a confession, and you don't see a whole lot of these types of ending. You see a lot where there's a confession at the end of the season or at a turning point in the series, but you don't ever get the person just saying, "Yeah, sure, why not? Live and let live." So that's for I really appreciate stuff like that. I said it all over my Valentine's Day special at the beginning of the year. Where like I like it when they cut through the bull crap because we have like millions and millions of shows and movies and books about like couples getting together. We don't get a whole lot of like couples being together, and this one actually has a benefit that other shows like it don't have, which is that I don't think Renako and Ajisai are going to end up together. I mean, they're together now, but like I said, there's still plot and developments and character arcs to explore, which means that like there is no way Ajisai is going to win in the end. And I'm kind of excited about that because as rare it is to see an anime explore an actual relationship, it's so much rarer for anime to explore relationships that don't work out. I can't think of any. Like, yeah, you get a lot of like, oh yeah, he's my ex or whatever, but all that's like backstory in the past. You don't see that be the crux of the character arc after a certain point. You don't see a lot of situations where like first arc them getting together, second arc them being together, third arc them falling apart, fourth arc they end up with other people. You don't see shows like that a whole lot. You see rejections, you see confessions, you see happily ever afters, but you don't see heartbreak, actual genuine heartbreak like that. And maybe I'm just a horrible person. This is also what I liked about last season. The Can a Boy and Girl Friendship Survive, because actually that had a similar conclusion. Now that I'm thinking about it, like that had a similar conclusion where at the end the dude and the blue haired chick they confess and they start dating, but you know that there's also a lot more source material left to explore, and so you're just waiting like, okay, are they going to actually end up together? Are they going to be like on again, off again, like Friends? Friends actually did that, the famous sitcom, where like it had like Ross and Rachel. They're together pretty early on, but then the whole show is then like kind of falling in and out of love with each other, and they do end up together at the end, but it's kind of on again, off again for a long time. So that could be the case with Can a Boy Girlfriend Survive, or it could just completely take a left turn into something else. Um, I like that. We're just getting a lot more shows willing to explore these sorts of scenarios without just being burdened by uh, cliches and what has worked before. Uh, what else do I want to talk about before I get into? I'm gonna save that for later. I guess I should talk about Rascal now. So Rascal Does Not Dream of Santa Claus, I don't think is over yet. I think it has one more episode in it. I'm not actually sure about that. I hope it has one more episode because I cannot wait to see the conclusion of this arc. And I don't want to have to wait for a movie. I did hear that they are making a movie to wrap up the series. There's apparently like two more light novels left after Rascal Does Not Dream of Santa Claus, and they're going to be adapted into a single film. So that's good. Um, I feel so bad for Nene and for I think his name is Fukuya. Nene and Fukuya are very much what if Sakata wasn't able to remember my in episode 3 of Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, where they're dating and then she goes through her crisis. She starts disappearing from people's minds, stops being perceived, and then her boyfriend forgets about her. And it was so heartbreaking to see her standing there while he like rejects the entire idea that he had a girlfriend and that she's the one who gave him the scarf, and then she just freaking dissociates. Like the whole scene towards the end where the image that I use where Sakata like comes to her house and it's just all Christmased up and she's just like, I am Toko Kirishima, like Nene Iwamizawa doesn't exist. I don't know who that is. I don't know who Fukia is. I don't know who any of these people are. Like she just completely she loses all perception of herself. And that is uh something that we haven't seen in this series before. Like we've seen the whole like disappearing from people's perception. We've seen that several times throughout the series. But this is the first time where like someone has completely lost perception of who they are as a person. Like Mai never forgot who she was. Sakata never forgot who she was. Kaede forgot who she was, but she more so like just completely lost her memories and had to rebuild her life. Like I said, like none of the other characters have disassociated the way that that Nene has. And there's confirmation that anybody who didn't have a dream on that Christmas Eve didn't because they die. Though with Mai, that's still up in the air because a lot of people dreamt about seeing her. But there's also multiple timelines and stuff that are at play here. I don't really know what the conclusion here is going to be. And I'm not going to bother theorizing, except for the fact that, like, the one thing I did theorize about, I ended up being absolutely right. She did know that guy. In fact, they were dating and in love. I'm sure it was very cute, and I want the best for them. I want the best for them because I want the best for Mai and Sakata, and this is how you get the happy ending for everyone. Um, so yeah, I really hope that I should look that up. Rascal does not dream of Santa Claus episode count. Yep, 13 episodes. It will have one more episode to wrap up the Santa Claus arc. And then it'll have then Rascal does not dream of his girlfriend, and Rascal does not dream of a dear friend are the final two light novels. Or yeah. So yeah, this series is rapidly approaching its end, and I'm here for it. I've had a good time with Rascal. Now, last thing, actually, I got two more things to talk about before we get into kind of some stuff for next season. Well, I didn't actually want to talk about this first. So let's talk about the Ruby versus Maka death battle. It went exactly the way I thought it would. Uh, with the way Ruby Semblance works, she hypothetically has infinite speed, so I would have actually given her the speed advantage. She also has a deeper bag of tricks because of dust. But none of that matters because Maka can bench press planet. So yeah, I think they did their homework. I think the fight was very well done. And yeah, I think they made the right call. I don't think anybody was really all that surprised by this. And then thing I actually wanted to talk about. Make sure I'm doing the right one. I just felt obliged to mention the death battle because of how much Ruby content I've done on the channel. And this does actually conclude. You know what? I have more to say. I have more to say about Ruby and Death Battle. Because I think My Hero Academia would actually be a better match for Ruby, feat wise. I notoriously don't like power scalers. I think cross universe death matches are something that should be done for fun and fun alone. If you try to take it seriously, doesn't matter. Then it loses all sight because every single verse will follow different rules, different laws of physics. Like they don't actually match up. Best way to illustrate this is speed feats. There isn't a single character in all of fiction, at least in animation, there isn't a single character who actually moves faster than light speed. Who is texting me? Oh, cool. He's win again tomorrow. That was actually my boss giving me good news. I get a 30 minutes extra rest tomorrow. Anyway, there isn't a single character in all of animation that actually moves faster than the speed of light. And I'm going to kind of demonstrate this by pulling up. Where is it? Display capture. Okay. Yeah, this. Okay. I'm going to demonstrate using this fight. I'm going to turn it all the way down because I don't want copyright. So yeah, we have Kizaru versus Gear 5 Luffy from the most recent arc in One Piece. And I just want to really show what I mean by saying Kizaru does not actually move faster than the speed of light as we know it in the real world. Alright, so Luffy can see Kizaru. That means that the light from the sun is hitting Kizaru and bouncing off of Kizaru and hitting Luffy's eyes. And that light going from the sun to Kizaru to Luffy is moving faster than Kizaru. Let me get the... Where's the big one? I think it's in a different clip. But yeah, basically, if you can see an attack coming, it's not moving faster than the speed of light. Because in order to see something, in order to have that data, that stimuli hit your brain, then that has to be moving slower than the light itself. I don't know if I'm explaining this well. Um, Here's an easier explanation for it. You can hear Kizaru. The fact that you can hear Kizaru means that he is not just moving slower than the actual speed of light. He's moving slower than sound, and you see this everywhere. Like Dragon Ball is notorious about this, where you have the iconic Dragon Ball like flying effect. Um, yeah, Blade Charge is right. Like it's just anime logic. Like Kizaru is literally light, so he literally moves light speed. Like, but the like the physics of light speed and how light works is not the same as how the speed of light and the physics of light work in One Piece. So, why would you use real world science to number crunch a fictional character? And power scalers always like cherry pick this stuff. They always cherry pick. I remember, with Deku, they went versus Miles Morales. They talked about like how Deku's punch was able to clear a storm or whatever, and how it had to have like so many joules of power attached to it. Uh, and so that they use like real world math and science for that, but then they don't use real world math and science to be like, oh, because you could actually hear this guy moving, he's not moving faster than the speed of sound. Like they always cherry pick examples and cherry pick what science they do and don't want to use. Um, yeah, there's very few characters. In fact, I don't actually think there's any characters other than people who can just straight up teleport who move faster than light. The Flash is actually one of them. Because the Flash uses the Speed Force, and the Speed Force is basically like just it's effectively teleportation. Like it's effectively teleportation. Like the way it actually functions. Like yeah, when from his perception he's moving fast, and you can still like see the blur or whatever depending on how fast he's moving through the Speed Force. But a lot of times he is just there instantaneously, and that's because of the way the Speed Force works. It doesn't follow the actual laws of physics, or at least not Earth's laws of physics. It's a completely different dimension. So yeah, the Flash is actually one of the few characters who is legitimately faster than light. Uh, and I think Ruby and My Hero Academia have a similar way of portraying things like speed and power. Uh, I recently rewatched a lot of scenes because of the podcast I'm in the process of editing. Um, and there's this bit where like in the Crover's Tyrion fight where they clash and there's like a shockwave from their blades clashing, and then the shockwave hits a building and the building falls over. That's a good way to demonstrate that like these people are moving with superhuman speed and extremely superhuman power. Ruby in Volume 2 during the food fight, when she runs and creates the vacuum behind her that like sucks everything up, and then she like puts on the brakes and it like cracks the wall and slams Juniper and all the debris into the wall. That's a really good showcase of speed. Uh, but it's really hard to it's really hard to demonstrate things like light speed because don't we don't actually have a good way of measuring light speed. I think it was a Vsauce video, or at least it sounds like something Vsauce would do. Where there's this video about like how we don't actually know the speed of light because we don't know if light speeds up or slows down when it hits a mirror. Well, then why does that matter, you might be asking? Well, because we've only ever been able to measure light by shooting it off of two different points. We have a light source, and we shoot it at something, and then the light hits that something, bounces off that something, hits back at the tracker or whatever. We determine how long that took, we do the simple like distance over time calculation, and so then we get a rough estimate of the speed of light hitting those 2 points. Divide by 2, that's the speed of light as we know it. But we don't actually know if that's the case. Because of the way that we don't actually know if light speeds up or slows down when it hits something. We have no way of actually measuring the speed of light. We only have like a very rough estimate that might not be accurate at all. We just have no way of perceiving it. Same thing with like electron microscopes. Like we have a hard time telling like what subatomic particles look like or how they behave, and we don't actually know like what electrons look like, or where they are at in relation to the atoms that they surround, or how they move in relation to the atoms that they surround, because they're just so small. They're smaller than the thing that we are using to measure them by a lot. And so it's just a crapshoot. Like we know about how big protons are and how big neutrons are. Like we know how they fit together. And then electrons is just the cloud. They're somewhere in there. Like our modern scientific instruments just aren't equipped to deal with things that are smaller than electrons. That's why things like quarks and stuff are still like kind of the thin theory. Um, and we also just we don't have the scientific instruments to accurately measure the speed of light. We don't have the scientific instruments to accurately measure anything smaller than like a quark. Uh, and so those are just limitations. So you can't really portray those uh, without having something to show for it. Like we know what it looks like when something breaks the sound barrier. We've all seen jets hit the sound barrier, get that Mach cone around it, and I live in St. Louis, which is right next to a military Air Force base. And so I've seen multiple times like where I will see a jet, and then I will hear a jet, and the sound from the jet is actually trailing a couple degrees separate from the jet. Like you can see that the jet is moving faster than the sound it's making. Also traveling faster than light can make a black hole, if I recall correctly. Nah. So black holes are mostly created from mass, not velocity. Um, like if you were to take the planet Earth and try to condense it down into the size of like a baseball, it would create a black hole. But something moving the speed of light wouldn't necessarily do the same thing. We don't have any examples of things with measurable mass moving at the speed of light, so it's all just hypothetical. The energy it would take to move something with measurable mass to move the speed of light is astronomical. Uh, Light beams or photons are able to move the speed of light because they weigh about as much as an electron. Uh, like they are just so infinitesimally small that they kind of just ignore things like gravity, and they have an immeasurably small mass. And again, kind of going back to Ruby, like Ruby can hypothetically go infinite speed because she has infinitely small mass when she's in her petal burst form. Uh, so Ruby could hypothetically go light speed. She hasn't done that. She hasn't really demonstrated anything above like Mach 5, which is 5 times the speed of sound. She's been able to hold her own against characters who have dodged lightning, but she's never dodged lightning before. She's never been hit by lightning either. She just hasn't had the opportunity. But like we've seen like Mercury and Emerald dodge lightning, so Though lightning is another thing. Like lightning is about like a third the speed of light estimate. We have been able to measure that accurately. Um, and any time in fiction where someone dodges lightning, there's always the possibility of them aim dodging it because of the way lightning works. You can actually kind of feel the lightning blast about to hit you before it hits you. Like people who have survived lightning strikes have actually felt that sensation where they can kind of feel it coming. Um, this is actually a plot point in Naruto where like Naruto makes a big distinction. A big distinct. I cannot speak today. Naruto makes a big distinction between chakra lightning and true lightning. Like chakra lightning's fast, but it's like maybe the speed of sound fast. Whereas true lightning, no one can actually dodge. Like you can kind of react to it, and if you have like a chakra based defense, like Itachi Susano, then you can like block it, but you can't dodge it because by the time it comes at you, it's basically already hit you. Um, because it's so much faster than the speed of sound. Uh, Sasuke's Kirin is an attack that uses true lightning and is one of his strongest moves. Like it's so strong, it is still useful when he fights Naruto in the Valley of the End. Like it's still like one of his best moves against Kurama. Uh, like that's how busted that ability is. Naruto is actually one that proves my point about characters' movement speed because like all the Deno books will be like, oh, this is all light speed. This is the speed of sound, faster than lightning. You can cut lightning. You can move as fast as light. Uh, but then during the Pain arc, it's a major plot point that Pain, the Tendo Path of Pain, can only use Shinra Tensei once every 5 seconds, and no one can ever close the distance in 5 seconds. Distance over time equals speed, guys. That means that like you can't clear 30 feet in 5 seconds. That's let's do the calculation there. Speed is distance over time. They're about 30 feet away from Pain. They got 5 seconds. That means they can only move. That means that they are moving 6 feet per second, which is about 360 feet per minute. 21,000. Is that right? Blade Charger, they can't hit him with a fast range attack, probably. I don't know his skill set. So the thing with Pain, uh, he has like the Almighty Push, which is a omnidirectional attack. Like it hits in all directions. And most of the people he actually fights are like close range people. Like Naruto doesn't really have an attack, a ranged attack that he can just whip out and use against Pain in those moments. So what he'll do is he'll usually like blast them with Shinra Tensei. They'll go flying, and then by the time they recover and get ready for their counterattack, Pain's ready for another attack, ready for Shinra Tensei again. Uh, but dude, Blake Charge, watch Naruto. Watch the Pain arc, especially. The Pain arc is freaking dope. It's like one of the best anime arcs ever. Uh, and Pain is just such an interesting character. But yeah, the way that Naruto ends up like getting around this is he creates like just a bunch of shadow clones to brace himself so that he's not spending 4 of those 5 seconds flying through the air. And so then he only has a very short distance to clear in that 5 second interval. And then he hits him with the Rasengan. Yeah, he basically juggles them. Uh, it's really metal. The way he does it. Um, But as far as Ruby and Death Battle goes, we've seen all four characters from Ruby in Death Battle now. Uh, Ruby versus Mako was the last one. This is actually one that apparently Monty himself wanted them to do, way back in the day, and they just never got around to it. And they wanted to wait and wait for more information, for more like better feats from Ruby. And they did, and I still think it was maybe a little premature. But I don't see Ruby just as a show. I just don't see it really being in the same weight class as Soul Eater. Like, Soul Eater technically exists in the same universe as Fire Force, where you it's insane. It's correct. They had that Weiss fought, I think, someone from Persona or something. I don't even remember who. I just remember that she lost bad. Uh, then the first one was Yang versus Tifa, which everyone accused of being rigged in Ruby's favor because they were Death Battle and Ruby were at that time owned by the same parent company, and I don't buy it, mostly because I remember doing the math that they presented, and it all checked out. Volumes 1 and 2 have some Looney Tunes ass feats. Yang especially has like some Toon Force energy in Volume 2. Uh, a lot of the characters in Volume 2 do, actually. So they basically have low level Toon Force in the early volumes of Ruby. And Tifa just couldn't keep up. Sorry. Maybe if they did a rematch with with Tifa's like Final Fantasy VII remake feats, Tifa would win. But Yang's best feats are still better than Tifa's best feats. And then you have Blake versus Mako from Attack on Titan, which was a stomp. Attack on Titan is one of the very few universes, one of the very few fictional universes that would just straight up lose to any modern military. North Korea's military would not solo because it's their military, but they would dog walk the rumbling. And North Korea is like the 15th or 16th best military around right now. If the rumbling happened, or something on par with the rumbling happened today, America would have that shit clear in like 30 minutes. Used for innocent stuff in Volume 2, if they had in combat, would be hard for people to beat them. Yeah. I mean, there's some like Nora hitting Yang with their hammer and sending her to the stratosphere. Uh, like that's an actually impressive strength feat from Nora and an even more impressive durability feat from Yang. Um, but no, like I just kind of want to dunk on Attack on Titan scaling and how like so many people like overblow it. A major plot point in Attack on Titan is that technology is starting to make the Titans useless. Marley has been in Attack on Titan, like before the series officially starts. Marley is on the warpath. They're trying to conquer all their neighboring kingdoms and stuff and empires and build their own empire. And their main weapon is the Titans. They're using the Titans to invade and conquer all these people. And these people are getting wise and creating technology that is able to actually destroy the Titans fairly easily. And that technology is early 20th century technology. It's like Zeppelins and rail guns. And high impact cannons and submachine guns, and revolvers and Gatling guns, like things that we had as early as like 1910. And that's why the plot happens. They send spoilers for Attack on Titan, by the way. Not that matters. It ended years ago at this point, but that's why they send Berthold, Reiner, Annie, and the Jaw Titan guy who gets killed. really early on. That's why they sent those four. Four of their like 7 Titan shifters, right? Because they kept the Warhammer Titan and the Cart Titan at home. The Attack Titan and the Founding Titan were already on Paratus. Who am I missing? Oh, and the Beast Titan. They kept the Beast Titan home and sent him in as backup. So they sent 4 of their 7 Titans, their 7 Titan shifters, their 7 strongest soldiers, to go to Paratus in order to get the Founding Titan, because they want the Founding Titan so that they can do the rumbling, so that they can finish conquering the world before the world makes the rumbling inadequate. They want it now. They want it fast, and they want it spectacularly to where they can destroy every military on the planet, finish conquering the world, and then not have to deal with technology keeping up. In this series, the rumbling is stopped by a couple strong soldiers, a few Titan shifters, and Falco, who becomes the Beast Titan who can fly. Falco's ability to fly is a game changer, because it means that he can fly above all the Colossal Titans and is fast enough to dodge all the Beast Titans throwing rocks at him, which is, like Marley and all these other empires, they have Zeppelins, but the Zeppelins are slow, and Zeke and the other Beast Titans are able to throw rocks at the Zeppelins and make them explode. But Falco is able to dodge all that because he's a bird guy. He's a bird Titan. Now, imagine if you had 500 Falcos, each one with the firepower to level a city. The rumbling would be over in an afternoon. And again, that's a major plot point, is technology is catching up, and Marley is driven by their fear of this enhanced technology, which is what pushes them to initiate the entire plot. Yeah, Titans would absolutely be screwed by the modern day Air Force. It would only take a few jets. Because the Colossal Titans, they move kind of fast, but they move horse speed. Between intercontinental ballistic missiles, fighter jets moving faster than sound, other artillery shells that can punch holes through steel. There's nothing. None of the Titans are stronger than steel. The whole weakness of the Titan is to slice them in the back of the nape with the steel sword. Titan hardening, what we actually see with the armored Titan is able to get dented up by armor piercing rounds that are being fired from a battleship, like a 1920s battleship. We see that in the premiere of season 4 of Attack on Titan. And the armored Titan is supposed to be the one with the best defense. If it was any other Titan shifter getting hit by those shells, they would have been ripped to shreds. And that's a 1920s battleship. A 2020s battleship would have annihilated him in a single blast. Like I said, any modern military could end the rumbling in 30 minutes to an hour. And it just kind of goes to show that so much of what makes Attack on Titan scary, and what makes most settings that are scary, what makes them scary, is the lack of ability to fight back. The difference between a horror show and an action show is whether or not the main characters can actually fight the monsters. Yeah. Yep, Blade Charge, you are right again. Her uranium shells would shred him. Yep. Yeah, like the difference between an action show and a horror show is whether or not you can fight the monsters. Uh, that's why, like, as horror coded as Jujutsu Kaisen and Bleach are, they are at the end of the day action shows. Whereas, like, I would say Don to Don is much more horror coded because there's a lot of instances where you just gotta run, where the magic is just so bullshit, or the yokai have such busted abilities that you just gotta like run and try to find a creative solution rather than fight them fair and square. Um, this is actually a little bit of in Dracula as well. In the Dracula novel, there's a plot point that like Dracula wants to go to England because the Romanians in his homeland are kind of like wise to him, and he's like kind of getting malnourished from it and getting weaker from it. And then he goes to England where they are none the wiser to his shenanigans. But then he kind of still gets killed by a couple guys with big knives and a few guns. Uh, After being like this terrifying force anytime that they come at him like unarmed, but give those guys some weapons and suddenly it's a fair fight. God created man, Smith and Wesson made him equal. That kind of logic. Uh, so I ended up talking about that a lot longer than I wanted to. Let's pull up this for fall 2024, fall 2025 anime list. Because I was looking at the fall anime list earlier today. I watched a few trailers. There isn't a single one that actually interests me. Okay, there's one that interests me, but not because it's a new thing. It's something that I'm already like well invested in. Um, and that is, where is it? There it is. My Hero Academia's final season is the only thing I'm looking forward to this season. Uh, and my favorite moments from the war arc are already past. Uh, my favorite moments from the war arc are like Bakugo's awakening against Shigaraki, Todoroki versus Dabi, Endeavor and Hawks versus All for One, Tokoyami, Dark Shadow fighting All for One, uh, Deku arriving and going into overdrive against Shigaraki, and then Iron All Might versus All for One is one of my favorite moments in the entire series. All that is basically past. The only thing left I have to look forward to are Bakugo getting back into the fight and Carnage Deku, and then of course the conclusion. Uh, Let them know that Tamura Shigaraki fought to destroy to the very end. So yeah, My Hero Academia. What a legacy it's going to leave behind. One of the best shows to come out of the genre. One of the best superhero stories ever, and it deserves all the love. So even though I already know everything that's going to happen, I read the manga. I did a whole live stream video talking about its decade of triumphs. Uh, I'm still going to be watching it week to week. Both sub and dub, because I do like both of the casts. Um, so that's really the only show that I'm planning on keeping up with this season. Other ones that are noteworthy, One Punch Man season 3 is cooked. You already have people from JC staff apologizing for how botched the production for this season was. And One Punch Man season 2 was already pretty botched. Uh, And I also just completely lost interest in One Punch Man's manga around the point where season 2 ended. So like I haven't ever actually read Saitama versus Cosmic Garo. I know I didn't make it that far. I made it like a little past the Mega Centipede guy that had fought Blast at some point. Spy X Family season 3. I've never gotten into Spy X Family. I've heard very mixed things about it. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's so cute," but then everyone else is like, "It's so boring," and I'm just not all that interested in the premise. So I was never I never really gave it a chance. But it's like one of the few noteworthy anime coming out this season. Uh, Isekai Slop. Ranma One Half is getting its second season. Good to see it around. Good to Ranma One Half is one of those old school anime that oh god, there was one this season that I never ended up watching, but like pretty much anything from the 80s and 90s, I'm always glad to see like make a resurgence because I'm very nostalgic for that era of anime. Even though I never really got into Ranma. Uh, let's see. Tales of Wedding Rings season 2. I recognize that name. Never watched it. It's part of the Monogatari franchise. Uh, which is I've never really gotten into, but I've heard a lot of. I heard that's like prime Gooner bait. Isekai Quartet season 3. Glad the Isekai Quartet is still going. Never watched it though. Don't plan to. Uh, yeah. Kingdom sixth season. I have not heard hardly anything about Kingdom's anime adaptation, and I never read the manga, so not really interested. Maybe someday. Actually, the Kingdom's one of the ones that like I'll probably just end up reading the manga if I ever really get interested in it. Uh, there's a new Digimon thing coming out. I was never actually a big Digimon fan, so that's a skip. Uh, like man, this is gearing up to be a very dry season. Which means it'll be the perfect time for me to catch up on Witch Watch and My Dress Up Darling and knock a few other shows out that are on my watch list. Like, I really need to start watching Detective Conan again. I haven't watched Detective Conan in so long. Uh, maybe something like The Red Ranger becomes an adventurer in another world. That's one I've been interested in. Uh, I don't remember why I put Strike the Blood on my maybe list. Um, oh, I also kind of want to get into Rudy Rocks. The more I see from that show, the more interested I become in it. And I know that's concluding, so it'll be a perfect time to binge watch. And of course, I also got to catch up on Call of the Night. Um, I think I'm like 6 episodes in to season 1. Uh, I plan on. I've kind of been keeping it on the back burner because I kind of want to do like I want to be caught up and finished with it sometime in October. Sometime in late October, and be like do like a Halloween special of like Call of the Night. Because I think that would be a fun thing to do. I think that would be a fun stream. But that's actually going to wrap it up for this week. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Blade Charge and Robert, again for contributing to the conversation. Next week, we'll talk about the end of Rascal Does Not Dream of Santa Claus, as well as maybe something else on the horizon. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, buy my books, and keep an eye out. It's gonna be a while before the next podcast is ready. It's our longest yet by a lot. And I'm doing a lot more editing on it than I have on pretty much any other podcast before. I'm pulling out all the stops this time, and yeah, so keep an eye out for that. Even though it'll be many weeks before it's ready. But yeah.